in memory of Dick Robinson and sponsored by the Institute of Museum and Library Services.
Hey, welcome to the National Book Festival. My name is Anne Claire, last name Lezotee, name sign Library Anne. Welcome. My sign name is Library Anne, was given to me with kids. At the library where I work. I'm recently retired. So now full-time author. That's really exciting to share stories about deaf history, culture, language. So, a new book, what happens? Okay, so here it is. The name is Set Me Free. Okay. It's a Show Me Song standalone companion. Now, Mary, she's grown up. She's 14, and she's more passionate. She's more stubborn, and she's invited to become a tutor for a young, kind of wild, deaf girl who is living off island in a mysterious manner. So it's a story. The girl is full of secrets. Okay. Who is she? Who? And the house as well is full of mystery. But again, it's a book about, and you can see the cover. I love it because it's two deaf girls who obviously have a very close bond. They're struggling. Some of it is physical and emotional, but ultimately it's this bond, and they need to help each other. Yeah. So, but what is the big bad guy in the books? Okay. Ableism. Okay, ableism. And what is that? I wasn't going to put in books for kids and ism. It's a big word. Mean what? So it means not seeing disabled people as equal to abled or hearing people. So I ask the problem. Mary is deaf, or how the world outside of Martha's Vineyard sees her deafness. Which one? The problem? Which one is it? So it's kind of how kids are thinking, so that's a big thing. On the other hand, deaf kids, I was scared to write pain. I was scared to write deaf pain. And man, it's scary what happens to her. But they need to see that and have it acknowledged and accepted also. So to see, it's an educational book, but the deaf girl is also a hero, and she adventures, and there's ghost stories and stuff, but also to just see the whole world of people, and who is good, who is bad. Sometimes it's hard to say. One of our best friends, like Miss Nancy, she doesn't like the Wampanoag. She learned that from her parents. No. Or Thomas. I love that character. But he's also Wampanoag. He's a black free man. Again, Nancy, Mary's best bestie. So we see kind difficult, complicated, the world for all of us to live together for inclusion and acceptance. So 1800s, Martha's Vineyard, When in the 1990s, I lived on Cape Cod, the Elbow, and I visited Martha's Vineyard in the winter, and I loved it. And then a cab driver told me about the island history of deafness. When I became immediately fascinated and I wanted to know more. So I headed, to the local library and started research many, many years ago and thinking about this story. As it started to build, to grow, I realized it wasn't just like a death utopia, okay? There were other people living. It was Wampanoag land. And I knew I had to tell their story as well. And that meant more research, meeting people, talking with people, signing with people. So it's really been an amazing experience, both books in this world. And I'm happy the people who really live there on the island have embraced the book and the story and are marrying. So it was really important. So I was working at the library for years and I saw what was there, what books for kids and what was not there. And not a lot of deaf main characters. Okay. So that was something I really wanted to show. I wanted them, the kids I was working with, to see themselves like a book as mirror. And I also wanted hearing children to understand, okay? To see this girl, she's different, she's deaf, but deafness is not something to be scared of or to pity. We're not always feeling sad. And I wanted them to kind of enter her story so that and show me a sign when the world kind of turns in the middle. They're so surprised and shocked and scared like she is, so they can feel for her. And at the same time, the deaf kids kind of, the experiences, the adventure, they can have that story because it's not alone. Still now, it's 2021, we still not sing along. So I'm excited to share that. And the kids are really, they come to me and they believe man is real. What's she gonna do next? So there's a new book. Recently, a mom who's deaf and her young daughter is deaf, and she wrote and she told me, my daughter's teacher is reading the book, and that helps her to understand, and that was just wonderful, So just getting it out from this kind of stories, encouraging others to do the same. Because my story is one, and this community is so diverse. So, I'm hoping more writers come. You know what I'm saying? First of all, because I was born deaf in the 60s, and also with pulmonary disability. So I was in the hospital and schools I kept changing. So as a reader, I was delayed. So books, I knew my family, they all ran all around me. So I knew there was power in books, but I couldn't read for kind of a long time. So my history of books, maybe now I'm writing what I wanted to see back then. So I can't actually think of a deaf character. There's one. We all know bios of Helen Keller, right? Just one. Her story, probably the only one. Probably the only one. When I was your age, I was not the best student in my class. Okay, maybe I was at the bottom down there. I didn't think I was important, or I had so much to give that my story would mean anything, or one person would want to read. But, and when you write, maybe 1, 10, whatever, they don't like your story. Not for me. No. But if you persist, you will find that person and that connection, someone who gets you, who understands, who wants to help you, just get there, make it work, and believes in you. Okay, you have to keep believing in yourself. I know how hard that can be, but you will succeed. You will. Just keep going. Don't be shy when you're writing. Is it good enough? Yeah, it's okay. You will get there. Yeah. I want to read your story. I need your story. I do. Disability, deafness, it exists. Okay, that's who I am, and I'm proud. Okay, we are not so different. Okay, I'm inviting you into our world to read, and just to be kind, to understand other kids in your class, in your neighborhood who are different. I needed those friends as kids. Like I really needed friends. The disability, it definitely is a culture, it's a history, it's a language with accents. But I'm sorry, we're still the same, and don't be afraid, don't judge people for their differences. Understand, in my books, no one is perfect, okay? Deaf people, they are, they're racist. They label and have prejudices also, this community, this world together, we're living together. So this is a deaf inclusive society that existed in the past, in this place. And it can, again, if we really want it, we can be inclusive. But no one is perfect, and we have to be honest with each other about that and accept our differences. Yeah. Okay. So like disabled people oppression, what do you do? What do you do? You see it, over there, a deaf king, people are laughing, you have to be brave. You have to learn that people are the same and not be scared to help someone or tell an adult if something's happening. I remember all of my friends because they were not scared when other, like the cool kids, call me bad names. They stayed my friend, even though I was called the R word in class a lot. So just being that person's friend, when you see something, I know there was a song recently that was like joking about Helen Keller was kind of mean. So saying, no, that's not wrong. I don't believe that. You're wrong. Yeah, it's hard to do that, but please try, because that means the world to me. And I'll tell you something. When I was scared to go on like Facebook, I was scared because people were mean to me in school. It was awful. Boom, I got on and immediately this guy, he messaged me. And he said, I am so sorry that I was in that group that picked on you, that hurt you. And so many years later, he remembered that. And he said, now I have a kid. And if they did that to my kid, they're so angry. So that even hurts the people who are picking, who are being mean. It hurts you later and you remember it because you grow up and realize it's wrong. We hope. So just, that deaf girl or boy or person, they have to be strong. They're trying to be proud and just be with them. Don't push them over there. Be that friend that I remember who helped me grow up, and understand, read my book, other books, and understand that disability is not something bad. It's not something I want to change. Kids ask me that all the time. Do you want to hear? No, I'm comfortable as I am. And it may be hard to understand at first, but it's the truth. So just be with me. Be with them, those kids who are different and struggling in school. Ask them, like, can I help you? You wanna, eat with me or play? Whatever. Just include them. And realize it's not too different. Maybe you learn a little else now. I know you, okay? I was that kid, okay? Was I important? No. My brother was a genius. And me, the reading, struggling, you are so important. You don't know how much you mean to people. Sometimes I'm surprised I'm sitting here because it became that hard, okay? But I am here, and you can be too. You know, you and me, we're not that different, okay? You have to work hard. Sometimes more hard, you're harder than others. People not always great, you know. They don't see you the way you want, or the way you see you up here. Your dreams. Dreams important. Big dreams. Big dreams. Don't let people stop you. Keep those big dreams, okay? And it can happen for you. I know it, okay? I know it. I believe it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Katie Nothi, a specialist in accessibility here at the Library of Congress. I'm standing in the library's Thomas Jefferson building with one of our staff sign language interpreters, Derek Dodson, who provides American Sign Language interpreting for our deaf staff and patrons. At the library, we strive to make our programs as accessible as possible for as many people as possible, including through services such as sign language interpreting and captioning, and the free Braille and talking book service from the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled. You'll see the library's commitment to accessibility in our collections as well, which include this film from over 100 years ago called Preservation of the Sign Language. This recording about the importance of sign language to the deaf community was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry in 2010. For those of us who don't know ASL and would like to learn a simple message in sign language related to the festival, I've asked my colleague Pete Ritchie, a digital library specialist in the Prints and Photographs Division, to teach us. Pete is one of our deaf staff members here at the library, and he will teach us how to sign "I love reading." We hope you will reach out to us at ada@loc.gov if we can support you in any way. Enjoy the festival.